reports that property belonging to the South African National Blood Service has been vandalized. Ravi Reddy, the CEO of the South African National Blood Service, joins us now. Ravi, good evening and thank you very much for your time. A tweet coming from your handle saying the South African National Blood Service condemns vandalism and the destruction of property. We call for calm and remind everyone of the importance of working together to ensure that we save lives. The rioters there at the Queensmead Durban Centre who went for one of your centres there. Tell us about the damage that was caused.
Yes, good evening, and thank you very much for having us on air. Yeah, unfortunately, or quite regrettably, our blood donor centre at the Queensmead Mall in Mbilo in KZN was looted this evening, and it was live on air while the President was speaking. The damage is being monitored at the moment. It is extensive. A lot of our equipment and that we use for blood drives throughout the south coast of KwaZulu-Natal was looted. Most of the equipment, quite expensive equipment, blood scales, etc., which is really specifically made for blood collection, was also taken away. And a lot of donor gifts that we have for promotions was all looted. So extensive damage to our property, which is going to set us back quite significantly in our quest to collect sufficient blood.
Did you have any blood stock on the premises at the time?
No, we don't. Fortunately, we don't have blood stored at the premises. We collect blood there during working hours, and we transport the blood to our headquarters. And also because of the unrest in that area today, we did close our clinic a bit earlier than usual. We doubled the security availability at the site, just in case anything happened, but that didn't work as well. And the security guards, from the reports that I got, were actually overwhelmed and fled the scene, allowing the looters to break through the doors and get into our premises.
Tell us about what that clinic does. You're saying it closed early. The amount of work that comes out of that clinic on a 24-hour basis.
Yeah, so we have, blood has got a very short shelf life, particularly platelets, and we have a very, very well-monitored supply and demand plan. So we need to operate our blood donor centers, especially during this extremely difficult time of the COVID pandemic, during lockdown, where we cannot go to schools and universities and communities. The donor centers, like the one that you saw being looted, is really where we collect most of our blood. So the impact of early closures means that we cannot collect sufficient blood to meet demand, firstly. Secondly, it means that platelets particularly, which is critical for the treatment of oncology patients and cancer patients, etc., we are not able to collect it. We're inconveniencing our donors as well. So the knock-on logistic events or occurrences are quite significant. Fortunately, we try to have 5 days of Group O blood cover, and in this instance, with all the efforts of our staff, we managed to be at 5 days, so we could close early today. But if we had to do this for another day or two, we will simply run out of blood, which will have quite significant ramifications for the healthcare sector in South Africa, which is already on its knees, and it really is a terribly sad and difficult situation for the entire healthcare system.
What are the implications then of that particular center and the staff there and the equipment that have now been lost? What happens tomorrow?
We're going to meet first thing in the morning, and we do have a few spare pieces of equipment throughout the country that we will try and redeploy. But this is not the only site that was looted. On the weekend, our site at the Umlazi Mall was also looted and totally cleaned out. So we are still trying to salvage equipment for that site, and this is the second site that has been looted. So we will try and get the site up and running in the next few days. But the guarantee is, for most of the rest of this week, the site will not be operational. Our donors that have been booked to donate at that donor center, we will try and, permitting that the protests do ease up, try and get them to other sites, because we've had significant issues with getting staff onto site, and security of our staff is paramount. But we do understand that being trusted to save lives, we need to get blood into the hospitals as well. So we're facing an extremely difficult situation at the moment, trying to manage, our clinics trying to manage during the COVID pandemic and facing all these crises that we see.
Ravi Reddy, I appreciate your time and thank you very much for bringing that to our attention tonight. The CEO of the South African National Blood Service, that center where Thabo Mdluli was reporting from earlier on, the Queen's Mead Shopping Center in Durban. One of their blood donation centers was vandalized there, and some valuable equipment being lost that they use for the collection of blood, which is quite needed, of course, in the country. Meanwhile,